with a firm eye on the most hotly anticipated game of the 2025 NPL Victoria men's season. South Melbourne Hellas face the prospect of a young and hungry St Albans Dynamo, who are in firm pursuit of their first victory of the 2025 season. In 14 meetings between these two sides in both league and cup competitions, St Albans Dynamo have never beaten South Melbourne. Could tonight be the first? A heavily rotated Hellas sees 6 players drop out from the side that faced the Melbourne Victory youth team on Monday, with Dynamo's narrow loss to Heidelberg United last Sunday firmly in the rear view mirror. I am Neil Simons to take you through the action. I'm joined by NPL Victoria OG and, of course, the Bayside Argonauts assistant coach all the way in State League 2 Southeast, Dean Manier. Welcome, Dean. It's a great night for football, and as the we're literally calling the game on a Grand Prix track. The Australian Grand Prix is almost ready in terms of completion. The construction's nearly done, but Lakeside Stadium is here, and we are eagerly anticipating this match tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. It's great to be back on the mic. It's been a couple of years, pretty much a year since I've last been on it, and what a night it's turned out to be. The sun's out, just setting over to the right of us. Perfect conditions, really. No wind, perfect surface. Looking for a great game of football. And just one fact to update on you, Mike. Neil, we're State 1 Bayside Argonauts, not State 2.
My apologies. Promotion to State 1. I had to be corrected, and if there was anyone to do so, it'd be Dean Manier. Of course, a litany of former NPL players in that squad as well. Keep an eye on them this season. We'll take you through the starting lineup, starting with the away side in St Albans Dynamo. Number 2, Gideon Arok. Number 7, Lucas Burns. Number 13, Joseph Colina. Number 20, Josh Diven. Number 16, Michael Grgic. Number 18, Joshua Galevsky. Number 3, Alec Mills. Number 11, Joey Monek. Number 19, Emmanuel Peters. Number 21, Jackson Riley. Number 8, Brian Summerskill. For South Melbourne, very rotated team and plenty of new players in the squad. And a first start for the Dane Gustav Moller, and 1-2 for Campbell Doverson. Number 26, Campbell Doverson. Number 23, Morgan Evans. Number 8, Cooper Halfpenny. Number 4, Marco Jankovic. Number 88, Charlie Leach. Number 1, Javi Lopez. Number 5, Jake Marshall. Number 22, Max Mikola. Number 9, Gustav Moller. Number 99, Jack Pope. And number 2, Zach Spiteri. Here come Dynamo, this time through Summerskill. Of course, a rotated team for Dynamo as well. James Exidius has dropped out, so too Fletcher McFarlane. What do you make of their start to the season? I think the off-season signings were promising. They brought in a lot of players, did St Albans. Of course, Cam Watson, being at Hume City last season, brought across several players, including McFarlane, Golevsky, Jackson Riley. What are your thoughts on how they've travelled this campaign, Dean? A very poor start to the season.
Yeah, Neil, it hasn't been the best start of the season, but I guess 4 away games on the trot doesn't help, including tonight. They haven't really had an opportunity to settle at home and get a big crowd as they usually do on a Sunday, but in all the games they've played, they've always been competitive thereabouts, and they're just probably missing 1 or 2 key chances that will keep them in the game or potentially win them, but the last 2 results have been an improvement from their round 1 clash.
Absolutely so, of course. Their round 1 clash was a gargantuan derby out in Dandenong, a long away trip for them. It was a 3-3 draw, and since then, it's not been all too smooth sailing. A 2-1 loss to Heidelberg last week, and of course, with their ground currently being redone, hopefully they'll have a few home games in consecutive weeks, and that will hopefully get them back on track. But for tonight, it's a prospect that they've never done before. Defeat South Melbourne Hellas last season, and just the last game of the season, it was held at this venue. It was a narrow loss, 2-1, in which Brian Summerskill did score. As we do see St Albans make a foray forward as they break into the box, and a great chance! And it's fired right over the bar by Lucas Burns. A golden opportunity for Dynamo, and South's defence caught napping.
Yeah, massive opportunity for Dynamo, and that's the exact reason I was saying earlier. If they take these chances, they can bury teams nice and early, but unfortunately that ball's gone over into the Grand Prix track.
Right about, maybe Oscar Piastri might have to pick up the ball on his track walk in a few weeks' time. But Lucas Burns, a very diminutive player himself, of course, ex-Port Melbourne Shark, and was at Western United and Melbourne City's youth academies, and I'm sure he would have spent some time with Luca Dorso, who's on the bench for Hellas tonight. Here's Grgic, back towards Gideon Arok, a very highly touted prospect, the centre half from Adelaide. Arrived from Adelaide City, spent time at FK Beograd and as well as Adelaide United's youth team. We can't forget the 3 years he spent at the Central Coast Mariners as well. Here is Zach Spiteri. His first start of the season. It's Peters. Floated high. Jankovic heads away. Here is Summer Skill. Jack Pope with rudimentary interception. Grgic can't control the ball. Mikkola with a long throw, and Moller is going to arrive in a foot chase. Not quite with Gideon Arock, but speaking of the great Dane, what are your thoughts on his start to the season? I mean, arriving from the Danish 6th tier with a club that I will attempt to pronounce. Of course, the side being in the 6th tier. It's a big adjustment to the 2nd tier of Australian football.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be loving life down here in Melbourne. The weather's been fantastic, but also finding the score sheet last couple of games as well. So he's been a big impact. He has big shoes to fill in, replacing Harrison Sawyer, but I think he's settling in quite nicely.
And a breakaway potentially for Leach, but the ball cut out. Here is Morgan Evans. Looks to float one in towards Moller. Mills looks to clear, but it was an offside flag called on the far side. Daniel Papadakis, the AR on the far side. He is a photographer. He's, of course, the ref lens head over there and provides photos of referees. You love to see it, but unfortunately he won't be the one taking the photos. He'll be the one making the calls tonight. And, of course, a very integral side. He has in his locker the referees tonight. Johannes Zizes is our 4th official. Evans with the throw. Moller heads on. Dinamo with a heavy touch. It's Spiteri, long ball up over the top. Leach chasing in a foot chase with a rock. Might fall kindly for Max Mikkola on the half volley, but it's going to be very tame. Is it much of a change in approach, Dean? Of course, you have the likes of Jordan Lampard out of the squad, Andy Brennan, Ross Archibald, George Mells. It's a heavy adjustment in terms of personnel. The midfield's completely changed.
Yeah, but I think the benefit being Esteban Quintas is you've got a squad of 20, 25 players.
Here is Jack Pope with the volley, and it's a spill from Jackson Riley, but it didn't quite turn out in the means in which South Melbourne imagined, but that was very poor from St Albans' defence. I guess playing out of the back doesn't quite suit the way that they want to play with South Melbourne's heavy press, but looking to break the press is Emmanuel Peters, who's lost out on another occasion. As you were saying, Dean?
Yeah, when you've got a squad like South Melbourne's 25 quality footballers, you can have games like this where you can rotate and still expect the exact same outcome. And Esteban, you know what he's like. He's very to the point and wants his team to play a certain way.
Emmanuel Peters has earned his side a corner. He's been all around the traps, Manny Peters, Port Melbourne and Green Gully last season. This is his 3rd club in just one season, and he certainly has played for many more clubs than that, Manningham United as well as Dandenong City. Had a great start at the Sharks prior to moving across to Gully and taking this set piece. Look to go on the prowl now, Dinamo, but it looks like I think maybe Lucas Burns is coming to take it, but there's been a call in the middle. Not exactly sure what the commotion is over here. They're taking it short towards the edge of the area. Neat little ball of Burns. He's offside. But a bit of a set-piece routine from Cam Watson's side. Very intuitive and sneaky as well.
Yeah, it was definitely one off the training park, and it nearly worked out. South were probably a little bit slow to set up and get into the defensive shape, but St Albans, unfortunately, were offside.
Here is Jack Pope. Peters. Forced wide. Plenty of Hellas players to part. And Grgic plays it back towards Riley. Moller pressing. And Riley does clear the ball away towards Peters. Deep in his defensive half. Summerskill. Neat ball over the top. I think it was Lucas Burns who slipped on the deck, and Morgan Evans is forced to clear. Grgic throws it central for Colina. Out towards that left-hand channel. Driving centrally, rolls it square towards Brian Summers. He'll score from a similar range at that very side of the ground last year. Incisive all played, cross on the right foot, but South Melbourne will leave it for a goal kick, and Dinamo have had the majority of the possession, but that is how Esteban Quintas' sides operate when they don't have the ball.
Yeah, it's been a fairly even contest so far. I think St Albans are looking to try and overplay as much as possible, sit in a mid to low block, allowing South to make a couple of passes so they can't go long directly. And it's sort of got some joy so far.
And they've just forced another turnover here, so worrying signs for South Melbourne. Here's Alec Mills, spent time at Preston Lions last season and was one of the, we'd say, 12 to 13 players that got let go at the end of the season. Mind you, he did play a few games in the Isuzu Youth A-League for Melbourne City back in 2021, and is also a regional boy, formerly of Murray United. And also played a bit of youth football at the Goulburn Valley Suns, and a couple of caps for the Young Socceroos, who this week did secure the Asian Cup for the first time in their history. So good luck and kudos to those boys as they head to the Under-20 World Cup. Here's Jack Pope to play the ball, but Gideon Arok got to it first. Riley. Arok. A long searching ball from Mills. Summerskill heads it on. Backwards header finds its way towards Javi Lopez. Had a brief injury scare last week, but depends on what side of persuasion you were. Was it an injury scare or an opportunity for South Melbourne to regroup against the Melbourne Victory, as they had a pretty torrid 25 minutes to start off with? Grgic. Neat little ball played towards Peters. At the edge of the air, across the face of goal, an easy tipping and an easy tap-in for Lucas Burns. And St Albans take the lead. Could this be the time in which Dinamo get one over Hellas? Fantastic bit of play from Emmanuel Peters and Lucas Burns to finish it off neatly at the back post.
Yeah, a fantastic little run by Emmanuel Peters. A little inside-to-out run. Great pass by the fullback just to slip him in. And a great first-time ball, and I think South were caught sleeping. The defensive shape was all over the place there, and I know Esteban Quintas would not be very happy with that, but fantastic finish and probably a well-deserved lead.
Well, absolutely so. Isn't Lucas Burns set to have an enormous season for St Albans Dinamo? Hotly underrated. And he has got his goal against many people's perceived predictions going into this one, but a rotated South Melbourne side needs a lot to think about heading into the remainder of this contest. Long ball from Jankovic. Moller heads on. It's Halfpenny. Leaves it short towards Gustav Moller, who goes to ground. Just inside the D. Referee non-committal towards the foul. Of course, South did concede 3 goals against the Melbourne Victory last Monday. A very hotly contested match it was. They took the lead early. They retained it, and then an absolute fire starter from Minatoli. A poor back pass from Jake Marshall might have seen a potential defensive mishap for South Melbourne yet again. Javi Lopez forced to clear. Here's Cooper Halfpenny. Moller tracks back. Leach. South Melbourne in all sorts here. Very uncharacteristic, but a fantastic long ball from Jankovic to find Mikola on that left-hand channel. Can he bypass Grgic? He can. It's hooked in towards the area, flicked across. And a very neat leave. Now sees Joshua Galevsky stride through the middle, and a strong challenge from Jack Pope right in the centre circle on the halfway line, and plenty of questions to ask of what should be given here, and a yellow card is the answer.
Yeah, I think the yellow card's for the reaction from Pope there. I think the tackle was probably 50-50. Yanni's made the decision to give it, and I think the reaction has earned him the yellow card.
Jack Pope, a very lively player, loves to stride his way up the park. It's Burns, incisive again. Pope rolls it short towards Moller. Couldn't quite get the touch to it. Summerschool did spot Avi Lopez off his line. And South Melbourne caught out just about yet again. They take the resulting goal kick quickly. Here's Jankovic. I've never seen South Melbourne's defence this shell-shocked or rattled, as one would say. This is quite perplexing. Why is that the case?
I think they're just probably all adjusting to playing together for the first time. This 11 just hasn't been the best, but you know, it's the joys of NPL football. You just never know who's going to rock up and play today.
So much adjustment. I mean, compared Bernarda to Gustav Moller, it's a very big difference. You have two completely different players as Mikola goes to ground. The shouldering challenge from Brian Summerskill. And there's two players on the deck here. Michael Grgic also seems to be in a bit of pain and duress. But this is where South Melbourne thrive. It's through set pieces. And it looks like Max Mikola is going to stand over this one.
Yeah, this is probably a dangerous area to concede a free kick against South Melbourne. Obviously, it's what they play for. Throw-ins, corners, free kicks in and around this area. They've got some really tall boys to attack this ball in the box. So hopefully St. Albans switch on and make the most out of it.
Halfpenny, Jankovic, Moller, Marshall, plenty to aim at. The execution has to be near perfect. It's a dangerous position to be in if you're St. Albans. Mikola with the free kick. It's delivered right towards Jackson Riley's arms. That is a very tame delivery at that. And Riley is going to play it long. Won by Diven. Summerskill shifts it towards Burns. Keeps it in play just about. Dovison providing chase. And I think he stepped out of play. Haven't seen much of Campbell Dovison so far tonight. He has a very special connection to this football club. Of course, played here as a junior in the under-13s. Did score 27 goals in 21 games. And I believe might have been coached by Esteban Quintas. I'm not entirely sure. But isn't that special, nonetheless, to return to the club where you first made your foray in the NPL. Here is South Melbourne on the counter-attack. It's Morgan Evans now. Chipped in ball towards the back stick. It's Mikola. Ball's going to be slightly afar for him to reach, but it's all the way out for St. Albans' throw.
Yeah, Neil, Dovison was coached by Esteban Quintas, and so was Andre Skopoulos, who's made his first time on the team sheet today. Another exciting young winger that Esteban Quintas produced from a young age here at South Melbourne.
Dovison then since made the move to several academies. Melbourne City in 2020, and then actually went up to Gosford to play in the Central Coast Mariners system over there, and also had a couple of Joey's caps here and there. 6 at that. Went to the Asian Cup in 2023 it was, with that squad including the likes of, well, Bayern Munich's very own Nestori Irankunda. He did score 2 goals in that Asian qualifying group in Shepparton. Against, I believe it was Cambodia and the Northern Mariana Islands. I think they won 20-0 against the Northern Mariana Islands. That was the Joey's group. Here's Jankovic back towards Javi Lopez. South need to switch on. They've not trailed this season in the first half so far. They did trail last week, though, towards the end of the fixture, and it was Gustav Moller to bail them out. For Dinamo, though, they've gone down plenty of times this season. And they've not held a lead for much. Here's Peters. Turns. Colina. A rock. Mills. I think there's a player on the deck here. It's Lucas Burns, the goal scorer. Gives us a bit of time to reset and sort of take into account what's happening at the moment. And as physio is going to be called, this might be a bit serious for Lucas Burns, but hopefully he's all okay. South Melbourne, very poor start. St. Albans seem to be all over them at the moment.
Yeah, I think St Albans are coming out here with the right intention, well organised, well drilled. They know their game plan. I think the issue for South Melbourne tonight so far is that the team hasn't really started to gel. They don't have the likes of their quality midfielders to produce something, and they're getting stuck. They're trying to play through midfield, but it's just not quite clicking just yet. But they'll get there, I'm sure.
It's only a matter of time. South Melbourne, Route 1 football to a T. Lucas Burns is limping around. I'm not sure if he'll come back on. That would be a crying shame if he weren't able to continue, but it seems as if Dynamo haven't quite prepared a substitution as of yet, so we'll see what the outcome is. He's walking, but it's gingerly at best. I don't think I saw the board go up, did I, Dean? But stay tuned to see as to what might happen there as South Melbourne player back into play. Here's Mills. A rock. A misplaced pass from Dynamo. It's Mikola. Leach providing chase. Short towards Halfpenny. Nice little 1-2 touch. It's Mikola next to the byline. Cross towards the back stick. It's Doverson. Rolls it back. Oh, it's a poor pass, but it's intercepted again by Morgan Evans. Chipped in ball towards Moller. And St Albans clear their lines just about. For Manuel Peters now. Back to goal. Looking to race forwards. He can. Peters will leave it for Michael Grgic, who's been forced out wide today. I can't imagine seeing Michael Grgic playing as a right fullback at my time, but he certainly has the technical acumen to do so.
Michael used to start up his career as a fullback, fun fact, Neil, and he's one of those utility defenders that can just do a job anywhere.
Taking the role of Lee Roxham, who was at the side last season. Grgic, of course, at the club since 2016. This is his 9th season with the club. It's pretty unbelievable to have that longevity in the NPL Victoria. And I think the board is about to go up. Burns is going to make way off the park. They've been playing with just about 10 men for almost 5 minutes now. And this is really upsetting to see. Lucas Burns, such a lively player, technically very strong, but it looks like he's made his final foray tonight. St Albans will foray forward in the right edge of the area. Rolled across towards Brian Summers. Skill! Flashes it wide. But a golden opportunity for Dynamo goes begging. And we will see a change. It looks like the change will come now. It is going to be Jerome Charon, of course. Well, he was formerly of the Football Star Academy, a Hume City youth player, and made the move across to the Huesca Academy in 2019 and has since arrived back to Australia. The change had approached Burns to, I guess, a fairly unknown in Jerome Sharon. What do you make of his potential introduction tonight?
Yeah, I think Cam Watson's very good at his job, so he knows what he's doing and knows what this player can produce. So hopefully it pays off for him. Here's
Mills. Moller touches it down. No foul awarded, though, as of yet. Hellas fans are very upset at that call. Jankovic coming all the way to press. Here's Peters just on halfway. Spiteri comes with the interception. Now Grgic. Force to punch it down the line. Leach, he goes to ground as well. Strong challenge at that from Josip Colina. And the game, a bit of spice to it now. Do we see Dean? I guess South Melbourne thrive on chaos.
Yeah, chaos and organisation is pretty much their motto, I think. That was a pretty high foot, and he's probably lucky to get away with not receiving yellow cards. Nowadays, a lot of referees would see the intent there and give him a yellow.
Here is Max Mikola with the free kick. It's delivered flat again, but it's right into the arms of Jackson Riley once more. So He's 0 from 2 so far in terms of effective deliveries. This is Max Mikala. Let's roll out towards Grgic. Colina. Summerskill. Formerly of Heidelberg United. Here's Jerome Sharon. Left edge of the area. Nice little 1-2. She's almost broke his way through into the box. And Jake Marshall has come up second best here. And wouldn't South Melbourne not want someone like him to be in a position of danger? I think he'll be all right. But St Albans, they are really attacking that left-hand side and succeeding in every way.
Yeah, they're finding nice open big pockets in between South Melbourne's lines, which is very uncharacteristic for them. They're usually nice, compact, hard to break down, but St Albans having a lot of joy in that moment. As soon as they win that ball, they look to play forwards and through the lines through Brian Summerskill and then looking to connect with the midfielders and the wingers, and it's worked out quite well for them.
Can they capitalise on this throw-in? I don't think they're going to opt for the Max Mikala method, but nonetheless, it's thrown in short towards the near edge of the area. It's Gulevsky weaving his way through and eventually does find its way towards Summerskill. Rolled back centrally, Colina. And Dinamo will reset. It's Grgic now with Peters. Looking to weave his way down that right-hand side. He can do so. And Dinamo have the corner. If they were to generate anything effusive from this, South Melbourne could be in a world of trouble, both a literal and figurative sense. In comes a delivery towards a near post. It's across the face, nearly. Fell for St Albans once more. Here's Mills. And Summerskill. Moller pressing. And he's forced to play it back towards Jackson Riley. Esteban marshalling his players to go higher. Jackson Riley sends it long. There's Evans. And you can just see the progression in Esteban as the game continues. How more frustrated he gets if he's decided on generating the opportunities that he wants. That's the man that he is, Dean. And I think this season with South Melbourne having so much fixture congestion, I think I did the maths the other day. They can play up to, I believe, 48 competitive matches this season, if you include the national second tier or the Australian Championship. How do you manage a squad over the course of that long of a campaign?
You do what he did in pre-season, train morning, night, rest players like he's doing tonight, and just make sure everyone stays happy.
Of course you are a coach yourself, Dean, so I definitely trust your word. It's Pateri in a foot race with Manny Peters. It's Jankovic with the attempted header. It's Divin inside the box on that right-hand side. It's Emmanuel Peters now. What can he provide here? Here's Michael Grgic, Cam Watson, and his coaching staff must be very happy, Billy Selesky included, as a misplaced pass presents an opportunity for South Melbourne, but Summerskill was good to react. Incisive ball, Gulevsky. And it Leach once more. Played down the line, Moller, and I think it was a foul post the ball being played. And we'll see, I think Morgan Evans take this free kick. How does South Melbourne generate opportunities? Dean, I think St Albans have deficiencies, but they've been pretty sharp tonight so far from what we've seen at the very least.
Yeah, I agree. South Melbourne were probably very lucky not to be 2-0 down. With that big chance in the first couple of minutes, and then they scored that second chance. But they've been thereabouts. Brian Summerskill's had a couple of shots from outside the box that could have tested Harvey Lopez that have just drifted wide. And I think South really need to start getting a grip of the midfield to get a hold of the game.
And that is the key. I mean, they've switched the entire midfield. Inglese on the bench, Ross Archibald out of the squad, George Mells out of the squad. So you have to assume it's resting. I don't think Esteban would be that dissatisfied with that 3-3 draw last Monday. So much so that he dropped 5 or 6 players. But I guess all eyes on Preston Lions. Charan looking to bypass Morgan Evans, but South Australian does very well to contend, but Charan wins out on that battle. Game now receiving a very scrappy edge to it as the offside flag is called. 28 minutes gone in this contest. St Albans, if they fail to win tonight, will be relegated to bottom position. Port Melbourne Sharks with an enormous 1-0 victory over Green Gully has seen them rise up the table just ever so slightly. What do you make of the relegation battle, well, the expected relegation battle to start the season, Dean? I mean, I think it's, at the moment, we would have to say, most likely Melbourne Victory, St Albans and Altona would be grouped in those, you know, battlers positions. You can probably say Melbourne Knights as well after they've had a poor start to the season.
Yeah, look, it's so early on. Victory have shown some promising signs with the young boys they've got, and obviously a fantastic result last Monday. But I think it's a little bit too early to start seeing who's going to be down the bottom. But I think with Victory's A-League season nearly coming to an end, you'll see a couple of those young boys drop back into the NPL like they did last season, and they'll be a very hard outfit to compete against and try and beat.
Yankovic, a poor giveaway of possession, and Leach with the foul. Probably necessary at that, with a gaping hole in that left half of defence. And Summerskill will play it back towards Alec Mills. South is a little bit sloppy in several areas tonight. Manuel Peters, we apologise for the foul language as he goes to ground. Max Mikula committing the foul. He made it very clear that he was fouled there. And so set piece for Dinamo now. Game sort of has found its rhythmic pattern in these last 10 to 15 minutes after a frantic start, with Lucas Burns opening the scoring and then had to be substituted off with an injury. So we wish him all the best. Of course, this is South Melbourne's second home game of the season. 2 weeks ago, they played against the Melbourne Knights. It was a 3-1 victory to them. Goals from Gustav Moller, George Mells, and Noel Bernarda secured the 3 points. As for Dinamo, yet to taste victory so far, but Manny Peters has been on the score sheet. He has been lively. They have attacking outlets and they can score goals. The question is, how can they do it tonight to ensure the 3 points is safely with them? Here's Peters. Yankovic gets in front. It's Leach. Now Mikula. Halfpenny. Mikula incisive towards Leach. Can he find the pass? He can. Yankovic looking to switch South Melbourne from left to right now. Here is Jake Marshall. Evans. Ball directed towards Moller. And South a little bit aimless in their pursuit. I'm sure Esteban won't be happy. Summerskill's been very tidy tonight, has the Englishman. He's been around the traps for quite a while. Probably one of the most experienced players in this squad. Mikula, can he feed on the loose ball? He can. Arok is safely going to contend and nearly launched that out of play, but it came off the boot of Charlie Leach. So you expect South Melbourne would move their line up to try and force a turnover from this throw-in.
It just looks very, very slow up top for South Melbourne, unfortunately, tonight. I think Max Mikula is the only one with a little bit of legs at the minute, compared to normal weeks where you've got Andy Brennan on the other wing trying to run him behind.
Well, you do have pace to burn on the bench. Bernardo, Durso, among others. And St Albans will look to counter here. Charan. And they've looked excellent tonight in basically everything they've done. Just struggling to find that final touch. Moller with the initial touch in the centre circle. He goes to ground. Dinamo fans unhappy with that. And probably for justified reasoning. If you were of that persuasion, halfpenny. Yankovic striding past halfway. Bit of a cool change settling in here at Lakeside Stadium. Spiteri nutmegs Peters. Who did it last come off of? It did come off South Melbourne. Here's Michael Grgic. Down the line. Peters. Back to goal. Swerves away. Past Spiteri. A faint touch for Leach. Hustles away. Now it's Pope. Looking to find the ball in behind. South slightly disjointed. And here comes the counter-attack. Jerome Sharon received plenty of joy down that left channel. Have St Albans. It's rolled square towards Summerskill. They just keep it in play. But Spiteri comes up to get the attempted clearance away past Peters. Shoulder away the challenge and a bit of a hand in the eye towards Mikkola. He's not quite happy with that. As he rolls to ground, he's still on the deck though, is Max Mikkola. Is he all okay? Or was it a similar situation to a UFC-esque eye poke? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. It's as soon as someone holds their face, they've got to hit the floor nowadays and get a little bit of rest, I guess. I think St Albans will be happy with this. It slows the game down and gives them an extra couple of minutes to get into half time. And I think Max Mikkola, if you're Esteban Quintas, you want to make sure he's all right because you can't afford to lose him at this stage of the game.
Or maybe just to give South Melbourne an opportunity to do what they did last week and have a miniature team short on the touchline. A master tactician is Esteban Quintas. Master of mind games as well. I'm sure Cam Watson will do exactly the same. A very tactically astute coach. Very, very harsh to be let go by Hume City early on in the season. But what he's done with the St Albans team, he's kept them up. That's the first thing. I think the second part is sort of to bring them up the table, and many people will tip them to be in and around the final spots this season. You have to say, on the balance, they probably should be. But losing your first 2 out of your 3 games is not the best way to go about it. If they return to Churchill Reserve and the pitch is as hectic and as many people would say unplayable, but as unpredictable as you would say, this could provide them some reprieve. What do you think?
Yeah, Neil, I think it's always hard to go to St Albans on a Sunday in the middle of winter. They get great crowds, they do great food, serve great beers, and it's a bit of a hostile environment to go to, and it's the joys of football. I think Churchill Reserve is one of the fantastic places to go on a Sunday. If you ever get a chance, I would highly recommend it. Go have a nice chavapi and a beer and really witness the passionate crowds out west. And St Albans really thrive on that. And they are hard to beat there. The pitch is nice and small, narrow, but they play good football on it.
Oh, they absolutely do so, and they've shown that tonight as well here at Lakeside Stadium. Here's Diven. Summerskill, Diven. He's got space to roam, but Dynamo will take their time. Mikkola is just about ready to come back on. Here's Grgic. Jerome Sharon, he seems to have switched wings down on the right. And Grgic makes his way into the box and last deflected off Zach Spiteri. And St Albans have another corner.
Yeah, pressure's slowly but steadily building again for St Albans, and they're just really taking this game by the throat and the scruff of the neck and really starting to dominate. And it's something that we haven't really seen from a South Melbourne team in a very long time.
Well, this is not 2005 when they first met. Vaughan Coveney with the 1-0 win for them. He provided the goal, obviously, and very different times now. St Albans looking to build now. Delivered into the near post. Oh, what a fantastic save from Javi Lopez. I don't know how it's found its way towards his palms, but it has indeed. Well, that was miraculous stuff, just about on the line, you would expect. And South Melbourne earned a reprieve yet again. Now it's Joey Monek. To send in the delivery. Comes towards a backstick now. It's Michael Grgic and Dynamo are on the prowl. 2-0 up, and it's their captain custodian in Michael Grgic who provides the go-ahead goal. Incredible stuff. And they might be on the way to their first victory of the season, and more importantly, to lift their way off the bottom of the NPL Victoria table.
Yeah, fantastic delivery into the box, and it's probably the first corner they've had today. Not probably, it is the first corner today that they've put into towards the back post, and Grgic rose on top of everyone else and just headed it down. Javi Lopez with no chance.
Well, he has been around for that long. He can score your free kicks. He can get on the end of your set pieces. He can provide the assists. What is there that this man cannot do? South Melbourne in a precarious position here at Lakeside Stadium. And you have to say, you didn't see this coming heading into tonight's fixture. Here's Jack Pope. Summerskill, long ball over the top. But it's going to be Javi Lopez who's going to come out and claim. Well, there are a lot of young players in this squad. Zach Spiteri, Charlie Leach, Jack Pope, Campbell Dovison, all in their either late teens or early 20s, and they are forced incredibly deep here, South Melbourne. They play out of the press. Dynamo know that this is their time to absolutely feed on their prey. And is Dovison on side here? He isn't. His first real breakaway of the evening, and he wasn't quite well placed.
Yeah, it's probably the best bit of play South Melbourne have completed all night tonight. Calm and composed out of the back. They built the ball from left to the right side and started the play through midfield. And great ball. Unfortunately, Dovison just went a little bit early, but that's much better from South Melbourne. I think St Albans got their tails up a little bit too much after that second goal. They really need to go back to their shape and not over-press, because South Melbourne just shown, even with the weakened squad, they can still break you open.
Well, I don't mean to be the individual to bring misery upon the South Melbourne team, but they have not looked good tonight. I think that's putting it very, very plain and obvious. They have not looked good at all. And they've looked very, I wouldn't say disjointed, but I guess a lack of real creativity. I think that's probably the best way to go about it, really. I mean, Waller has tried to provide moments. Leach has tried to be there, but I guess it just isn't really coming for them, where their experience of this Dynamo team in terms of games played purely at a senior level, I mean, there are many young players in this squad, has come up best here. Grgic with the attempted strike, and it might fall kindly for Divin. It bounces around in the area, but Javi Lopez is able to claim. Can South capitalise, though, on this potential counter-attack? Here's Campbell Dovison, and I'll tell you what, Emmanuel Peters was racing him down, and Summerskill gets in the way of Jack Pope. South Melbourne in a desperate move to progress forward, just unable to find the final one or two passes that get themselves in the attacking areas.
Yeah, I think that's just down to the young midfielders have gone in the middle of the park. Not a lot of them have senior experience. They've got no senior experience head next to them in midfield. Usually when Pope plays, he has a Bernarda next to him or in front of him. So I think Esteban Quintas has probably realised that and might make a change at half-time, but I think these young three midfielders are just really starting to see what it really is like to start at NPL level.
Welcome to NPL football. I mean, it's a great midfield they have at St Albans. Josh Gulewski, of course, was formerly at the likes of NPL ACT teams like Tigers FC and what have you, and spent time at Hume. Talented player at that, and you combine that with like the likes of Brian Summerskill, Joseph Colina. Talented players, indeed. South nearly have a breakaway in midfield. Here is Michael Grgic, has been the player of the match so far. Has not put a single foot wrong. Alec Mills now. That's a great neat ball. Here's Peters. He switched wings now towards that left-hand side. Divin rolls short. Might look to strike it here on the edge of the area. Here is Jerome Sharon. Rolls it square. No, it's Colina. It's Summerskill. It's Brian Summerskill. Just towards that left-hand side. They have played with so much confidence, St Albans. It's all about believing in yourself and that you could achieve anything, but this side is absolutely playing with the wind in their sails as Divin looks to win out the press here, and Javi Lopez forced back yet again.
Yeah, look, I think St Albans would have to be very proud of that first half performance so far. It's 42 minutes in, and all they've done is just absolutely give the game to South Melbourne. South have really struggled today, and I think they're just uncharacteristically just turning the ball over for no reason.
Oh, I mean, you'd expect the astute defending of Jankovic to provide a lot of vitality in that defensive half, but I mean, this week and last, both Jankovic and Marshall have been beat in numerous areas, but at the end of the day, St Albans have all the momentum swaying in their direction. Colina, ball over the top. Marshall heads away. Summerskill goes down. And here is Jack Pope. Loses out possession. A neat little ball in behind. It's Diven. The cutback. Might it fit fall? It doesn't. Very neat from Josh Diven. But it was Josh Gulewski who just couldn't find the finishing touch.
Fantastic opportunity again for St Albans, and South Melbourne are really just playing themselves into more and more trouble. And if I was Cam Watson, I'd be absolutely loving life at the minute.
It's not easy to be winless and come into a game like this and dominate the way that you have. Yeah, rotated 11 or not. South Melbourne would be a team that would have a lot of confidence on the ball and driving their way towards what you would expect for them to be another routine victory, but St Albans have taken the script by their hands and said, well, this is not how we're going to write it tonight. Summerskill. Here's Gideon Rock, who's been ironically a rock at the back. What a fantastic player to bring into your side, St Albans, and all credit goes to Cam Watson. He will be, you'd expect to be one of the breakout defenders of the NPL Victoria. Jerome Sharon driving into a central channel. And the Lakeside Sunset on the horizon. Colina. Rolled short. It's Arok. Leach. Spiteri. Pope back to goal. Moller goes to ground, is awarded the free kick. As we approach first half stoppage time now, I think it will be a bit of a Hail Mary here from Max Mikula if he's still going to be the one taking the set pieces. No, in fact, not the case. They take it short. Marshall. And the stoppage time to be allocated now. We will receive, I'd have to say it can't be more than 3 minutes because it is only 3 minutes. Probably fair considering the injury stoppages. Moller headed back in once again. Summerskill back towards Jackson Riley now. Well, if you're Esteban Quintas going into halftime, what do you say to your players? I mean, this is completely of the sort. Might come back to you in a second, Dean, as we do see Jerome Sharon now on this right-hand side. Rolled short. Option Colina. Now Summerskill. Here is Michael Grgic. On this near side, it's Colina once again. So I guess if you're Esteban, put your coach's hat on, Dean. What would you say to your players?
Do I put my coach's hat on and be Esteban, or do I put my coach's hat on and be myself? Because I've got a funny feeling. I think I know what's going to happen at half time, and it might be the hairdryer treatment.
I think that's the perfect way to put it, to be honest. I think any coach would be dissatisfied with this performance. Here's Mikula. Still retains the ball despite being shirts pulled here in an abundance. I'll tell you what St Albans have done, which I don't think has been talked enough. They've limited the amount of throw-ins. Completely.
I agree, but the ball hasn't really been up there to give away a throw-in nil, and I think that's just due to South Melbourne's. They've maintained possession in this defensive to the middle third, but they've never really tried to keep the ball up the top, and St Albans with their clearances have been nice and long, nice and direct. They're happy for Javi Lopez to get on the ball or kick it out for a throw-in in their attacking half, which is quite smart.
And I think pressing as well, especially against a youthful South Melbourne 11, where they maybe not have been quite used to this level of intensity, is intriguing. But you have to look on the bench. There aren't many players that will provide you much experience either. I think Bernard is probably the most experienced head of them all. Here's Diven now in the attacking area. Loses the ball briefly, but neatly wins it back. Rolls it back towards Brian Summerskill now, just across the D. Forced towards Peters. He's offside, though. And I suspect that might be one of the final acts of this half. Might there be time for one more with Morgan Evans? Well, it's just been one of those nights for South Melbourne. They just quite haven't found the attacking forays they required or necessitated. All this work to be done in the second half. The foundations have been set both on and off the park for both sides. From a squad building perspective, both bringing in fantastic players in the off-season. But what is the question to be answered for South Melbourne? Who knows? But St Albans can go into the sheds very, very happy. And that is the half-time whistle in this first half. St Albans have taken a 2-0 lead against South Melbourne through goals from Lucas Burns and Michael Grgic. A rotated South Melbourne will have to do a lot to come back into this one.
Yeah, fantastic first half performance by Dinamo. They've been the better team for the 45 minutes, and hopefully it's more to come in the second half. But maybe I've just realised, Neil, that the wind is going from left to right, so maybe it is a 2-goal win. But we'll find out in the second half, won't we?
Can South Melbourne find a second wind? Who knows in the second half? We'll be back with you in about 15 minutes or so.
and for many of you over the course of many years.
Welcome back to this NPL Victoria men's round 4 clash between South Melbourne FC and St Albans Dynamo. It has been one of the most frantic first halves we've seen, most unexpected first halves we've seen from St Albans, who find themselves up 2-0 against this South Melbourne side. Of course, nearing bottom of the table, St Albans, might add, against the once second place South Melbourne FC. But they have replied and have brought on not just one, not just two, 3 players: Luca Dorso, Lucas Inglese, and Noel Bernarda. I don't think we'll actually find out who got taken off, but I think some mental gymnastics may help. Dean, South Melbourne bringing on their more experienced players, I guess, this season. I mean, Lucas Inglese and Dorso, barely in their early 20s. But what is the key for this side in the second half?
Well, yeah, look, I think Inglese just comes back into midfield and locks it all up in that 6th position. Bernardo goes out wide and Mikola comes back into midfield. So they're looking at options now and hopefully try and play through midfield. And Inglese is exactly the type of player they were missing in the first half.
A real battering ram is Lucas Inglese, and I think Campbell Doverson has been taken off. That's the first one I can make out from my vantage point. I think Jack Pope's also made way, and the last one I will attempt to just provide some. Leach is still on the park, so it would be Cooper Halfpenny who's come off as well. So that is the change. Halfpenny, Pope, and Doverson off. Bernarda, Dorso, and Inglese on for South Melbourne as St Albans look to find its way towards a byline. The cross comes in, deflected, and it will be a goal kick to South Melbourne. I think a glass came off a St Albans player, and Javi Lopez actually seems to be in some pain here. Will we see Jonathan Petoulas perhaps come on? And they're calling for a physio. So, oh no, in fact, it is Jonathan Petoulas, who I think might actually make his South Melbourne debut. The shirt is off. We are going to see the debut of Jonathan Petoulas. 2 minutes into the second half. My eyes do not deceive me. This man has had one of the most incredible stories in Victorian football, formerly of Goulburn Valley Suns. Did make the move across to Altona East Phoenix in State League last year. In fact, the other way around, should I say. He was at Altona East Phoenix, had an incredible performance against Avondale, in which they narrowly lost 1-0 in the Australia Cup. Then made a move across to Goulburn Valley and is now a South Melbourne player and might be, were it be for any potential substitution, come on for his first appearance. It will be an incredible story from State Leagues to the NPL.
Yeah, fun fact, Neil, about him as well is he left GV Suns, signed for Manningham. Manningham Blues, who obviously got relegated last season at the start of this year, and then South came knocking and it was an offer too good to refuse. And now he's just getting warmed up by Gabriel Alfaro, the goalkeeper coach of South Melbourne. And it looks like he's going to come and make his debut. And it looks like Javi Lopez has done his hamstring, so doesn't look too good for South.
Well, South Melbourne have made their 4th substitution, and it is not the one you would expect. Jonathan Petoulas making his senior competitive debut for South Melbourne FC. What an incredible story for him and his family. A massive opportunity for him to make himself a potential hero tonight. And more dismay for South Melbourne as Javi Lopez goes down with an injury. Not the injury you'd like, especially with Preston Lions coming up on Friday night. Here's Moller. Loses out possession. Here's Peters. Mikola with a neat turn in midfield. And here is Charlie Leach. He finds space for Durso on the right. He breaks inside the area. Durso loses out possession again. Twisting, turning towards the byline. And South Melbourne earn themselves a goal kick. It looks as if the assistant referee on this near side made the decision and then backtracked a little bit, but it doesn't seem like South Melbourne players are too upset at that call.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. 10-1 substitution from South Melbourne, and very direct. It's the first player today that's been direct and aggressive to go towards the goal.
Luca Dorso, a very, very talented footballer, of course. Him and Dan Campbell-Dobson were in the same under-13s team, coached by Esteban Quintas when he was at the club in the late 2010s. But for now, after some stints across the Victorian footballing pyramid, he's back at the club that he was first at as an NPL junior. Spent time at Springvale White Eagles as well as Melbourne City. And actually, intriguingly enough, in 2018, he went to Russia, not to play in the World Cup as a 12-year-old, but play in the Football for Friendship event. So very intriguing at that. Here's a corner for South Melbourne. It's Max Mikula to take. It's delivered towards a near post. It's cleared by O'Rourke, and Gleze hooks it back in. And South can't generate anything by way of an opportunity that time. It's Evans. Diven. Jankovic stepping up high. Oh, well, that seemed to be quite intriguing. Jankovic wanted nothing of it. Oh, a couple of hands thrown here from St. Albans, and it seems to be just handbags now. A couple of stern words thrown, and we might see some decisions to be made here by the refereeing team here. Don't expect to see anything of the red colour, but a bit of heat emanating, maybe a bit of frustration from South Melbourne players.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of frustration, a bit of heat, but it's something lively and something that you really enjoy to see in a game of football. Tension's boiling, and look, nothing too dangerous or malice in there. A couple of push, a couple of shoves, we move on.
And so it looks like the decision has been made, and it will be a yellow card to Brian Summerskill. And I think South Melbourne might also have another yellow card for themselves as well. The yellow card is still in hand. It is to Noel Bernardo. No stranger to being involved in a tussle is Noel Bernardo. He's had a great start to his season. 2 goals to kick off his campaign. Can he be the player to provide the instant impact for Hellas off the bench? Mills all the way across to Manuel Peters. Heavy touch though. But cheekily tried to bring it up a little bit higher. Here's Spiteri. Jankovic. Petoulas with his first touch. He's to clear. And clear long he does. And it's out of play to the warm embrace of the St. Albans fans. Is Grgic. Look to roll it inside. Marshall clears again. Out of play. South have looked a bit more encouraging in the second half, looking to capitalise on Dinamo's mistakes. With Mikula moving into the midfield, it adds a bit of a different dynamic.
Yeah, I agree, Neil, but still they haven't been able to manage to create anything real special, and St. Albans have started this second half the exact way they finished the first half, on top, dominating.
Absolutely so, and the breakaway, it looked to be for Durso, but it's well dealt with by Joey Monik and Gleze. Now it's with Gulevski, rolls it short. It's Summerskill, beats past one and twirls his way into the area. Cut out one again. Colina looking to strike one at the back of Gleze. That one is shortest thing, but he shrugs it off like a true champion. And, we do see Javier Lopez making his way down the tunnel and to a warm reception from the South Melbourne fans. Hopefully for their sake, it is not too bad for him. As to lose your number one is, especially with the game coming up on Friday, it's not just a small game against Preston Lions, nothing too big at all. It's a quick turnaround as well, so plenty to ponder for South Melbourne players. Sharan, neatly done, near touchline. Weavers his way onto his right-hand side. Rolled in square for Diven, but it's Jankovic who's going to stride forward once more. South Melbourne need to find a goal or two early on to keep their hopes of retaining their undefeated record against St Albans alive in the NPL. Moller, ball over the top. Durso chasing, and Durso can't find it in time. Petula's urging his players to press. A makeshift coach. It's always good to have a very vocal goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah, they say the goalkeeper is the most important position on the pitch, not only because the saves they have to make, but also the commanding of the back line. And to be fair, this is probably the highest I've ever seen a South Melbourne goalkeeper stand, because Javier Lopez likes to be a little bit more defensive, but he's also very loud, making his presence known and just letting know St Albans that he's not here to mess around.
He's making his presence known on his debut, already marshalling instructions. You love to see it. And here is Durso in a tussle on this near side. Leach, he looks to stride out of harm's way. Now it's with Jankovic looking to head forwards again. And a call for a foul, perhaps? Oh, yes, against St Albans. So Inglese to take the resulting free kick. Looks like he'll look to go long here. He does so, and he attempted switch towards that far side. Only player is Spiteri coming in behind. But this is what South Melbourne wanted. They wanted a long throw, but they won't get it because they've given a free kick away on Michael Grgic just after he played the ball. And a bit more frustration for Hellas. And St Albans are going to look to soak up the pressure. And as they really should, they deserve this 2-0 lead.
Yeah, I think Inglés he's overhit that ball. I think he didn't expect to get it so deep into the corner, and unfortunately Spiteri was just a little bit late getting to the ball and gave away a free kick.
Absolutely so. South Melbourne need to just find that extra bit of energy going forward, and Durso is the man to do so, as they do win it back here. Here's Mikola looking to pop one from range, and it's Jackson Riley who's been forced to make the save. Had some venom on it. And South Melbourne get their first real distinctive chance away, as the momentum for the first time tonight, you feel, is swaying in the way of the home side. As we see the first distinctive long throw-in opportunity for Max Mikola. This is why he was left in the squad. Here's Mikola. A long throw-in arrives. It's Moller who looks to get ahead to it. Leach looks to hook it back in. Jankovic. And wasn't quite there for South Melbourne. But encouraging from Mikola when you're in this position. Maybe just be the best thing to just have a shot.
Yeah, it was a great strike by Max Mikola, and I think it's their first shot on goal tonight. So goalkeeper's done extremely well there to adjust. I think the ball was moving a little bit, and he's just palmed it away into a safe area.
Jackson Riley, a very good custodian at that. Was very, very effective at Hume City prior to the arrival of Michael Weir mid-season, prior to the transfer window, which I always found a bit puzzling. And St Albans win it back here to the delight of their substitutes. Of course, plenty of quality on the bench, including the likes of Fletcher McFarlane and James Exidius, both. I'm not going to call Fletcher an NPL veteran just yet, but Exidius certainly so. Making the switch across from Dandenong City Hajduk in the off-season. And another foul given away. Game just seems to have that add a bit of tension, but South Melbourne do thrive on chaos. But if there's any side to match the chaos meter, it would be St Albans, as they have a free kick in a very precarious and dangerous position here, about 10 yards out from that right edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for St Albans to capitalise here, but I think South Melbourne still just, even with the substitutions, just really not gelling. They want to press nice and high, but the gaps are so open and they're just not really well pressed for it. And unfortunately, it just hasn't worked.
Well, it's such a wide pitch, and it's very hard to find liminal space. It's Summerskill towards the near post. It's cleared out once again. Inglese looks to get ahead to it. It's poked forwards by Arok into a very neat position for Gulevsky across the face. Marshall wanted to make sure work of it. And so Dinamo to have a throw in here, just beyond the edge of the area. Here is Joey Monek. Now Mills. Arok. South Melbourne pressing. And Rock looking to find the ball on that far side, but Pitulis to get the touch to it. That is an enormous, enormous kick, and Esteban just quite can't get the mark. I said mark, it's almost a footy term. A very nice attribute is that for Jonathan Pitulis, just that long kicking ability. Oh, that's a strong challenge from Jake Marshall to the complete angry reaction from the St Albans bench. And I think as a card been awarded, it has been. That's Jake Marshall's second yellow card of the season. It's almost like you can't believe it because his yellow card record has been impeccable. I think he had one last season and none in the year prior in which he won the gold medal. And that's 2 in 4 games for him.
Yeah, look, I think there is just a little bit clumsy. He was a little bit too far away, a little bit slow to come out and press, and unfortunately pays the price. But I think if that Jonathan Pitulis kick comes off well, Esteban was screaming for it nice and early. I think it could be a very big asset for South Melbourne.
The free kick routine comes in low and calls for a handball against Morgan Evans, but it's launched up high, and St Albans are absolutely pressing South Melbourne here to the brink, to the absolute brink. And Gustav Moller has been enforced to just come up a little bit higher. And if you're Cam Watson or Billy Selesky, you would be delighted with this second half performance. It's all about repeating the exploits of what you do correctly, and they've done exactly that. Mikola keeps it in for South Melbourne. Wins it back off Grgic. Now South Melbourne looking to play it forward. It's Moller. Headed back in field. Could a breakaway be on the cards? High looping ball. Morgan Evans looking to come to it high. And it's forced high up long again from Jake Marshall. Divin. And that was out of play before he even got a touch to it. Here's Morgan Evans. Evans high. Sharan. Summer skill. That's a neat ball in behind for Divin, but he's offside. And so I think that's the real first time we've seen South Melbourne actually play their way they wanted to play, feeding long balls over the top and finding potential players in behind. That's the first real phase in which we've seen that tonight, and you just wonder if they were to enact that in that first half, how different the game's complexion could have been. Inglese, Moller, heads. Spiteri goes to ground and no foul awarded. It seems like South Melbourne just a little bit, I wouldn't say aimless in their pursuit, but maybe lost is the right word. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think the slow start hasn't helped them, and they just haven't really got much better.
Charan looking to curl one. It just hits the advertising board on that far side. Jerome Sharon, well, I mean, what a story he has had in his career. A very young footballer that comes in tonight with a huge opportunity and has definitely capitalised. The young winger, a rock towards Mills. Colina, neat work from Charlie Leach. Does so. Looking to bypass one or two players. He can't keep it inside though. Sharan looking to race forward. And Morgan Evans does well on his defensive recovery. Well, 63 minutes in, St Albans haven't made a change, but if you were to be Cam Watson, what would you exactly do here to enforce a change? Is there a real need for one, or just let the players see it out?
Yeah, the momentum is going their way. I wouldn't change anything as a coach at the minute. I'll just let it play out, and if South maybe get a chance and score, maybe you might look at bringing maybe James Xvidius on to solid out the defence. But at the minute, I don't think Cam Watson needs to worry about making any subs, and everyone looks fighting fit at the minute.
Fighting fit is Joseph Colina, who's been chopped down by Morgan Evans, and that is going to be a yellow card for him as well. Well, I guess that was all he could do. And they've called for the physio as well. So, Joey Monarch in all sorts here. Who's been your standouts at the moment, Dean? I have to say Grgic with the goal, obviously. I think Summerskill's been very tidy at the base of midfield.
Yeah, Summerskill's been fantastic in midfield. He's controlled the game quite well. He's dropped into pockets, picked it up nicely. I think the two centre-backs for St Albans, Mills, has been fantastic, and fair effort to all the St Albans players.
So, in fact, we talked about what changes would you make 2 seconds ago. There might have been a commentator's curse if Joey Monarch isn't able to continue here. They might be forced into making a change, which I don't think would be the outcome they would exactly have desired. Big week in the NPL Victoria coming up this weekend. Of course, the Friday coming. Well, there are plenty of matches on. But there's a one match that really stands out. It's South Melbourne up against the Preston Lions. Our match of the round. It is going to be an incredible display of football at BT Connor Reserve. If you can't get down to the ground, make sure you do catch it on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. Bumper crowd expected. Also, Green Gully taking on Dandenong City. Hume City up against the Altona Magic. And a quick turnaround for St Albans as they have the Saturday kickoff against Avondale at home. Summerskill delivers low. And Sharon's been pressed to force it back. You just see Bernarda and Durso. An Olympic sprint almost. Moller. Inglese. Durso looks to be onside or perhaps not. Doesn't matter as he can't find the ball forward. And Jonathan Petoulas was very upset. Screaming incredibly loudly. And I guess when you're forced into making a change, Harvey Lopez obviously coming on for Petoulas. It leaves just the one change left. It's either going to be Andres Kapoulas or Andolico Mezzaluni. Neither of which I don't think will have any distinct impact upon this contest by way of shaping the midfield as they're both attacking players. Gulevski gives it away. It's Max Mikula is going to throw it in from this position. Did score from this position last time out at this ground. It did lead to the opener. Could it bear fruits in a similar way? Here's Max Mikula with the resulting run-up. Hooked in. An absolute missile of a throw. Mikula's going to head it in once again, and it's going to be Jackson Riley to claim. But Dinham will have players up, but they're going to take their time. Well, 67 minutes gone. They have asserted control over this tie. They have taken this in the best way you could possibly imagine. Have St Albans as the ball over the top here is forced to be cleared by Joey Monarch. Another throw-in to come.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper has been absolutely fantastic tonight. He's dominated his area and up against some really tall, big, strong boys, and he's looked really calm and collectful, and I think St Albans have dealt with it very well.
Dealt with it well, they have. Here is Max Mikula. It's hooked in. The resulting header does arrive, but it was tame at that. They've had 3 throwing opportunities, none of which have generated any distinct opportunities. South Melbourne have thrived on these opportunities. 6 out of 7 of their goals have been scored from set pieces. Well, I'm not sure if a throw-in exactly is a set piece, but it's there as a statistic for you to delve upon. But I think this will probably be a momentary blip in South Melbourne's season, Dean. If you were to say this game were to follow the same trail as what we've seen so far, with so many players out, it does change the momentum and, I guess, the comfortability you have in many areas of the park.
Yeah, it's a little speed hump along the road for South Melbourne, but look, I think they've got to take the positives out of this and try and work on them. Obviously, a lot of key players not playing and not starting today, and it just hasn't helped, and I think you know it.
There's Bernardo looking to race through, and it's cleared away by a rock, and South Melbourne looking to press, and that's really the first sort of chance you see from South Melbourne players. And Mikola's going to missile in this throw. Luke Radziminski, the photographer for South Melbourne, having to adjust his footing. Nearly got it caught in the crossfire there. Can St Albans retain their clean sheet tonight? Mikola throws it in. It's headed on by Marshall. It's Jankovic. Mikola will try his luck again, but this time with his feet. It's hooked in once more, and Dinamo can get it clear. And Jerome Sharon, players racing up ahead. And it's one, in fact, towards Joseph Colina. Doesn't have the pace to bypass Lucas Inglese on that far touchline. Forced to roll it square towards Summerskill. Can he break away? He can. And South Melbourne win it back now through Mikola. He's been brought to ground, and advantage hasn't been played. Well, that seems to be a very intriguing decision at that. South Melbourne had players forward, but Max Mikola has been, as you mentioned in the first half, Dean, the only player that's really provided much, I'd say, distinct attacking forays going forward.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the South Melbourne that we know tonight, unfortunately. And if I was Esteban Quintas, I'm surprised he has hair on his head and not scratching his face a bit like Pep Guardiola. And it's a shame to see.
I think contrastingly, St Albans Dinamo, we cannot downplay the feat tonight. I mean, they have been impeccable. I do remember when they were flying last year. In fact, they were flying towards the end of last season. They won 5 in a row at one point. They came to South Melbourne on the final day of the season, fairly unchanged squad. South Melbourne brought out essentially their under-23 squad. Christian Inglese was playing. Mac Hilson was playing as well. And South Melbourne beat them pretty comfortably. Neat little ball from Charlie Leach towards Noel Bernarda. His first touch was slightly too heavy. And here's Max Mikola with the attempted throw again. South Melbourne with their best burst of the game so far. Their best 10-minute period. Can it result in a goal? We will find out. Here is Max Mikola. Long throw towards Jankovic. It's Morgan Evans. Will it fall for Mikola again? It's chipped in towards the back post. Charan forced to clear again. And South to reset. Spiteri. Long ball forward. The right intention, the wrong execution.
Yeah, and usually South Melbourne on normal nights like this, those type of balls hit a target or get into the mixer and allow for someone to attack it. Tonight they've just been really off, and maybe it is the long turnaround. You know, they played last Monday. It's been 7 days since the last competitive game.
Mikola finding his way forward. He goes to ground. I don't think there was much in that, and a push away in frustration. And so they'll try again now. South Melbourne to generate an opportunity. No, all is not yet past them. We are 72 minutes into this contest. Strange things have happened. I mean, I think Monday night last week was the perfect demonstration of that. St Albans yet to go to their bench, though. Perhaps some tiredness seeping in for some players, with especially the likes of Grgic having covered a lot of ground tonight. And that man, Jerome Sharon, who came on in the first half, has had plenty of running to do. Monarch, ball in behind for Divin. It's Gulevsky. Bit of a Hail Mary from him. Josh Divin's been fantastic tonight as well. Hasn't been involved in the goals, the Tasmanian-born Western United youth product, but has been there and has been superb coming across from the folks out west. Inglese with a neat ball, but it was cut out by Joey Monarch. Inglese will try his luck again. It's Mikola. A reverse pass, and Riley's got to come out to claim. He's been everywhere, Max Mikola, hasn't he? I mean, in a losing side, he's been a shining beacon of light, perhaps.
Yeah, I think Max is one of those type of players that just gets on the ball and does as much as he can. unfortunately in the first half he just didn't have the support around him, and you can sort of say the same thing in this second half.
Batulis has to come out to clear. That is a venomous clearance. Had so much pace on it. Bonada. Mikola has to find his way forward. Keeps the ball to his feet. Neat ball out wide. Durso. He's going to look to break his way into the area. He can't do so and gives away the foul. And, in fact, that'll be the impetus for the first change of the evening for St. Albans. In the 75th minute, mind you. Chris Taylor-esque. Loves to leave things late, if make them at all, to be honest. And why would you? You've been absolutely clear tonight in terms of your side. Why change anything? And it looks like we'll see Josh Divin make his way off the park. Oncoming is Lucas Cabrera. Always a great moment for him when he comes on. He's been a junior at this club all the way since on record under 13s, but it's been long before that. He's considered to be a prolific goal scorer in under 23s football, but now he's been firmly a first-team player in most recent seasons. Here's Leach. He spots the space for Mikola to run into. It's overhit though, and Grgic is forced to clear. Mikola will try his luck, and we will see. I believe it is Antoliko Mezzaluni who's going to make his way onto the park in the next window possible. Morgan Evans is going to make his way off the park. Well, Antoliko Mezzaluni returns to the club after a few seasons away, spent some time in Spain, and was formerly of the under-20s and also involved in and around the first team. Had a great year at Port Melbourne last season and is back at home. Mikola throws it in, punched away. Might have yet fall for Charlie Leach. It doesn't. He had to get it right there, but it was right over the bar. Well, Mezzaruni, he is an intriguing player. He missed a bit of pre-season, but has been fully involved in training and is ready to go now. And one thing you need to know about him is that he always wears the long sleeves, and you love to see it. Leach with a yellow card. Mills. Monek. Sharon. Square. Monek. Looking to drive inside. Cut off by Luca Durso. Mezzaruni. Cut out. And South looking to press. A rock. Deals with it well. Mills. Summerskill. Off the back of Luca Durso. Well, for St. Albans, they face off against Avondale. It doesn't get much easier for them, but they rose to the challenge today. Can they rise to the challenge on Saturday at home? I'm not sure if that's been confirmed to be a Churchill reserve. It might be at Thomsett Stadium. I can't believe I'm even saying that sentence, Thomsett Stadium. And to me, it will always be Knight Stadium. But Avondale are a very, very dangerous team. The entire squad full of class footballers. Can St. Albans contend against the likes of Luca Tavia, Christian Trajczewski, and Stefan Valentini?
Yeah, there's a lot of positives to take out of this from today. I think St. Albans will be absolutely ecstatic with their performance today, and it gives them the confidence to go into next week knowing that they can beat some of the best teams. And, you know, coming here to Lakeside and getting 1 point, let alone 3, is a fantastic challenge.
Delivered in towards the back post. No one's there. Charan left back across for Peters, but South looking to break, and a poor giveaway once again. Might I say, Oliver Grgic has made his way onto the park. Looked like 17 was brought up, but in fact, I think it was a number 10. Well, I think if there's going to be a story out of this season in the NPL in terms of young players, we had Dylan Leonard a few years ago. He's obviously now at Western United, one of the most highly valued centre-backs in Australia at the moment. 17-year-old Oliver Grgic has got something to say about that. As a strong foul is made again on a St Albans player by South Melbourne. And it looks like a card is to be brought out. And it might not be pretty for Hellas. I think Charlie Leach might be lucky to be on the pitch at the moment. That was certainly not pretty. And Charlie Leach can live another day. Of course, you wouldn't want to be suspended for the game on Friday if you're any South Melbourne players, just to be involved in that occasion. And they've certainly not been overawed tonight. It's more so just frustration. Taking short Peters. Summerskill. That's a fantastic ball in behind. Towards the byline, it's rolled in square. It's Peters. Mighty tries luck again. It's Emmanuel Peters. Forced towards the byline, cuts it across. No one's there. Mezzaruni looking to shift his way forwards again. Absolute chaos ensuing at the moment. Inglese. Durso. Back towards Inglese. Forced down the line. Stepping up high, Mills. Looking for the crossfield ball. Delightful, in fact. Not quite yet so for Emmanuel Peters. And South Melbourne will look to play it forward. Here's Mikola. High looping ball towards Durso. Keeps it into touch. St Albans forced to clear. Dragicevic cut down by Mezzaruni.
Yeah, it's... Neil, South's just struggled all night. They haven't really got out of first gear. There's nothing creative coming out of them. Just very direct and just hoping. And I think if you were some of those South Melbourne players, you'd be very frustrated with your performance tonight.
Oh, absolutely. You would be frustrated, if anything, by this performance. And after so many green shoots, especially against Melbourne Knights and against a very formidable Melbourne Victory side, it's 5 points dropped, it looks like. And the Preston game is the biggest game for this football club in terms of the stakes associated with it. It's all well and good to get 3 points on the weekend, but can you back it up against the hotly contested Preston Lions? They did it last year. They won 5-2 at BT Connor Reserve in the Australia Cup, but they've strengthened a lot since then. And it will be a test. You'd expect with the likes of Jordan Lampard, Ross Archibald, George Mells, back in the squad, Andy Brennan as well. So much quality, and you take those players away from this squad, it's almost like South Melbourne are a different team.
Yeah, I agree, but I think the bigger issue for tonight's loss is, if it does stay this way, is it opens up a 5-point gap to Avondale this early into a season, and we know how hard Avondale play and how hard it is for them to drop points, so it's a big race to catch up to them now.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the most important thing because I'm sure their eyes will be on the Premiership, but I'm sure based on recent seasons, all eyes will be on the Championship. They've lost 3 on the bounce now, and the question is, can they find that elusive NPL Victoria Championship, which has not been in their grasp ever since 2016, I believe. So a lot of silverware up for grabs this season. I think just the 4 trophies in the domestic league with the addition of the Australian Championship. So it's going to be a long slog for South Melbourne. Here's Luca Durso. Racing down the line, looking to bypass Joey Monek. Last touch came off of Luca Durso. And Joey Monek screaming in the face of Luca Durso. This is what it means to St Albans players. Derided. Many thought they might be relegation candidates going into this season, but had strengthened, and it's a very strong league this season, isn't it, Dean? And they've shown that they could do it against the likes of Marko Jankovic and Jake Marshall. They've shown their quality tonight, and it's certainly green shoots to bring into the rest of the season.
Yeah, it just shows the passion they have for each other, these St Albans players, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes that competitive edge just takes you over the line to win some games that are close, and lucky to St Albans, South Melbourne just have not been anywhere near their quality best.
There is always a danger in enforcing this much change early on in the season. 6 out of 10 available players on the park, and take them out of the squad, it's going to change a lot. In fact, it was actually five from the starting 11, if I were to be specific. But we'll see St Albans make another change, it seems, in a few moments following this clearance from Jackson Riley. Mezzaruni pumping it up forward. There might be space for Durso to run through. That battle with Joey Monek has been tantalising. Here is Durso again. Looks to get the cross away into the middle. Mollea rising. It's Bonada. Heads it across, and it's cleared by Mills. Inglese. And Durso knew he was offside, so he'll let that ball roll towards Joey Monek. Riley forced to clear. Marshall. Mezzaruni. Play continues. A clip on Lucas Inglese. Jerome Sharon now racing forward. Left edge of the area. Mezzaruni looking to cut inside once more. Jerome Sharon with space to drive to get the cross away. He does so. Rolled across the face. Peters is there at the back stick. Spiteri. And a bit of pizzazz from Emmanuel Peters. He's a showman at the end of the day. We have to remember that. It's Grgic up forward. And Sharon gets in the way once more. Here is Luca Durso. Driving central, and a strong challenge from Jerome Sharon. What a way to impose yourself. And hasn't he been superb tonight? Bonada. He keeps it in play. Does he? He does. So a throw-in from South Melbourne and Max Mikula to take.
That's 3 or 4 very strong tackles from St Albans in the last 5 minutes, and it's just setting the tone, and they're just being more aggressive, more physical, more in your face, and South Melbourne just haven't really matched it today, and it's something that South Melbourne bring to games.
Mikula, long throw, Riley to punch it away, and he does so. The corner to arrive for Hellas. And Mikula's been just across everything tonight in terms of set pieces, with the absence of their usual set-piece taker in George Mells. Delivered to the back stick. Riley out to punch once more. Spiteri. Oh, he just hooks it long. I'm not entirely sure what the intention was behind that. Just get out of harm's way, prevent a third goal. Goal difference might come into play at the end of the season. You never know. Well, looks like St Albans were going to make a change, but hasn't come as of yet. I think the player is just sneaking behind the assistant referee on the far side. Jackson Riley urged to continue and to speed up and expedite his free kick to the goal kick taking process. And he's done so now. Leach. Oh, he's been... I'm not entirely sure what's happened here. Seems to be a bit of confusion, perhaps, as to when to take the set piece. South Melbourne rather eager to take it quickly. And we will see the change. Emmanuel Peters has made his way off the park. An incredible ball towards the back stick for Lucas Burns' opening goal. Duly deserved and applauded by the away supporters. And we don't have the substitution board at the moment, but we'll find out who he's coming for in just a few minutes. Well, the most unexpected scalp in the NPL Victoria is about to see us in a few moments. James Exidius coming on. A very tidy player at that. We'll get a few minutes to play. St Albans Dynamo about to secure their first win against South Melbourne in their history in this 15th meeting, it is the first time that they will defeat South Melbourne, barring any late circumstances. I mean, we've seen certainly things of that ilk recently, but how important is it to this Cam Watson side to secure a win against one of the perceived big fish in this league?
Yeah, as I said earlier, Neil, at the start of the game, I think St Albans have just been missing that little bit of quality up top and that little bit of defensive presence. And it just hadn't gelled as of yet. But today it looks like it's all gelled. They've been hard to break down. They've created a lot of chances. They've been direct. And they knew their intent from the get-go. And it's really worked tonight. And it's really good and pleasing to see because I think Cam Watson has got an amazing style of play. It showed at Hume last year and it's starting to work here at St Albans as well.
The green shoots were there last season. Can they bear fruit today? Here's Bernardo breaking his way into the area. Cuts it across. Mills is there to clear. And they've been defensively astute and on it from the get-go. And they might have another foray forward here. Here is Jerome Sharon bearing down on goal. Just one player to beat. Cuts inside into the area, across the face. It's Gulevsky! Oh, it's brilliant! Josh Gulevsky! Welcome to St Albans Dynamo! And their first win of the season is going to arrive tonight! It's the Cam Watson era! 15 meetings! And this is the first time they have defeated South Melbourne FC! Remarkable! And in the background, in the backdrop, is Preston Lions on Friday. How may they respond? We will find out. And how about the poise from one Josh Gulevsky?
A fantastic finish into the bottom corner there. And St Albans go bang on the counter-attack. And I think South Melbourne, they've got a lot to fix before Friday night's game. And they probably only have 1 or 2 sessions this week before then. And Esteban's got a bit of work to do.
A bit of work to do is an understatement. But who will come in? That's the question. Will alarm bells ring if they are unable to secure a result against Preston? Be it a draw even. Who knows? Desperation attempt from South Melbourne now. I'm not entirely sure how many minutes added on there was, Dean. I think it was it 6? Fantastic. Mikola with a long throw. Hooked in towards Monek, and it's Moller! And what an incredible save from Jackson Riley! Tip-top shape, and he's denied Moller in the most nearest and liminal of angles. Incredible work. Leach, short, Mikola, fired into the back post, and Riley, he's going to nearly miscue it, and has given away a corner. Well, as well as he's been tonight, he's made a few fumbles. Delivered in by Mezzaruni, deflected in fact. Durso will have to chase. He can't exactly do so. Can he keep it in play? Just on the near touchline line. And Spiteri plays it long. It's kept in play just about. And St Albans, well, no mean feat to defeat South Melbourne here at home. I don't think a side has done that since Dandenong City last season. But they've done it tonight. They've been convincing. And all credit goes to St Albans. I think it's a reflection on how tactically astute they've been. They've been rewarded with 3 goals as well.
Yeah, full credit to Cam Watson's side, St Albans. They've created chances, they've taken it, but the key is they've been very hard to break down. The defensive jobs, the duties, they've all done them, and as you can still see, they're still running back and doing the defensive jobs first before worrying about this 3-0 win. It's like they've got clean sheet on their minds.
And you know what? They fight for the manager. They fight for the manager, and they can tell that they fight for Cam Watson and these supporters who, on a Monday night, it's cold Monday night in early March. You didn't quite get that often. And they've come out in droves tonight. They've got under the skin of the players, and they've done exactly that. Where to now for South Melbourne? Preston firmly on their mind. Did they look past St Albans? Who knows? I guess we'll find out on Friday night. Spiteri hooked in by Lucas Inglese, but it's going to go out for a goal kick. Irons on the weekend, Dean. It's our match of the round, South Melbourne versus Preston Lions. It has been earmarked as, I think, I forgot the tagline, but whatever it may be, South Melbourne will have to be up for it. If you're Esteban Quintas, what do you change, not just in terms of personnel, but in terms of stylistically?
I think it is just basically personnel. I think the full starting 11 of South comes back in next week, and some of the players come back onto the bench and gives you a little bit more depth. And I think the mentality's just really got to change. I think Esteban wanted his team to press today, and they haven't really pressed.
Do so with a lung-busting run forward. Just can't find it. To feed it towards Gustave Moller. He's provided pace and intensity, but it wasn't quite enough for South Melbourne tonight. I completely agree. It's a matter of personnel. To lead the likes of Ross Archibald, George Mells, out of the squad, you're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose poise. You're going to lose grit. You're going to lose desire. And with Jordan Lampard as well. And Jack Painter-Andrews, we can't forget him. You lose a lot there. You're losing your two fullbacks. It's a lot to part with, but it's just a matter of how can you respond. And I'm sure they will view this game as a blip upon their campaign, and how can they seek to run themselves forward into a better spot next time around. That is the question that must be asked. But here is Bernardo bearing down on goal past Aroc, and that is a thunderous challenge from Gideon Aroc. An absolute tone setter, and has been emblematic of how incredible and determined St Albans have been tonight.
Yeah, it just sums up St Albans at the back tonight. Aroc was Aroc again tonight, and that's a great challenge.
One of the most underrated signings in the off-season. Ball delivered in towards Marshall. It's Mezzaruni. His attempt was pretty tame. Mikola. It's Jankovic. And a foul from Mezzaruni. Inside the box is the impetus for full-time. St Albans are on the board, and South Melbourne lose their first game of the 2024-2025 NPL Victoria season. All eyes on Preston Lions this Friday night. It's going to be a cracker. Can South Melbourne recover? But for St Albans on Saturday afternoon, they face off against a Avondale squad which is fit and firing. How may they recover? We will find out. But Dean, your final takeaways from this fixture?
Yeah, fantastic performance by St Albans. They came here with intent, with dedication, with purpose, and Cam Watson's side has delivered on a massive 3 points, and they go back over the bridge to the west and all smiling, and South Melbourne have got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do indeed. I've been Neil Simons. He's been Dean Benier. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you very, very soon for more NPL Victoria action.